Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. We'll wait for 2 minutes more. Let everybody join in. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Safe hobby to project in UPSC. See, there's no safe, and it's about your interest. What you can develop right now with your preparation, which is more important. So very simply, that is the basic point. It's not about safe and non-safe. It's about your interest. Do you have interest in a certain activity that is? So, for example, if you have theater, music, martial arts, handicraft, in this handicraft is something which you obviously can't do. Music, classical music, you can learn. You have to see, and as it is, you would have to learn it or research about it after mains. So you will have time that ways. But something on a day-to-day basis which you can do, why not? Movies is also something which you can develop, but movies you would have to go beyond the movies which you see right now. So good and bad, it's not about good and bad, it's about your interest. Can you develop an interest in it? Because if you develop an interest in it, most probably then you will obviously pursue it also. Now you will say that I will become a painter, but don't have any skills for it or generally don't have the resources for it, then it makes no sense. Okay, give it 1 more minute. Still people trickling in. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Right. So we start our discussion again, and we have to discuss the following: handicrafts, theater, martial arts, music. Now, in these two are descriptive, but again, there is only a limited number which you have to learn. Therefore, it should not be a problem. Very simply, you need to understand one thing very clearly, that here again the input output is worth it, because you have to just learn theater, state, martial arts, state. Maximum one unique feature about it, and there's no real fuss in learning something like this. The total number of facts, I've told you: 10 puppetry, 8 dances. Not a big number. If you learn one each day, you can manage it within 3 months. You can be an expert of any form of art and culture. So the same is true for theater, martial arts also. So let's first discuss martial arts. Now, when we talk about martial arts is a self-defense technique, and they have existed across different time periods in India. At one point of time, they were the only way to fight in India generally. Now, when we talk about martial arts specifically, India is, in a way, the birthplace of a lot of different styles which exist in Central Asia. So, for example, from Taekwondo to Jiu-Jitsu, all have origin in India itself. And in a way, the mother of a lot of these martial arts is in Kalripat, or Kalripattu as it is called, basically Kalripat. Now, Kalari, the word itself has meaning. Kalari word comes from the place where they actually practice it, which is a gymnasium place. So, Kalari is a Malayalam word coming from Kerala. And it is the oldest martial arts tradition in India, and was also the one which traveled across China and even parts of Japan to become Taekwondo, other smaller or other different types of what we call as martial arts. Now, the Kalari Patt is a very, very, very interesting what we call as martial arts tradition. It has both armed and unarmed combat techniques. But the problem with Kalari Patt is that it is based on lethal force. And the concept of core Kalari, the British became very, very wary of Kalari Patt. It was used by Vijayanagara rulers, the Nayaks of this sector. But when the British saw that Kalari is so lethal, is so effective, they banned this tradition. And later it was revived after independence by certain practitioners. So the place where they practice is called Kalari. It is both unarmed and armed defense technique. It has kick, strikes, women, and there's a legendary story about Uni Archa, who was a legendary heroine who used to fight battles in Kalari Patt. But the problem with Kalari Patt is it has not been able to keep up with time. See, there's unarmed aspect, there's armed aspect. But whilst other martial arts have changed, and I'll show it to you, in which you have Thanka as a very good example, Kalari Patt today has, or Kalari has, lethal means a force which can kill you. So very simply, these very heavy weapons which they use is of no purpose to the modern day form of martial arts. So whilst Kalari is a very lethal, very important, and considered till today the mother of a lot of different martial arts, it has not kept up with time. And today in Kerala, it is just a form of physical fitness. So people send their children to Kalari or Kalaris for learning Kalari Patt, and they will basically get basic physical body techniques, mind body techniques. it is of, in that regards, no purpose as a core concept itself. This is the problem with a lot of these traditions, that they have no purpose in the modern world itself. But Patt has tried to change itself, not very successfully. There's a very good model of what we call as successful transition, which I will show you is in Thangka. So Kalri, Kerala, word comes from the place where they practice this martial arts. Now it has become about physical fitness. It was both lethal armed and unarmed force itself. And it was very common in South India. So for the purpose of the examination, Kerala. Now comes from Tamil Nadu, Silambam. Silambam is nothing but fencing. Fencing. You would have seen that for the first time India was represented in fencing in the Olympics. Fencing is a concept of, nowadays, the concept of sword fighting. But in India, fencing was the where basically the idea emerged, and it was based on lathis and sticks. So the concept is very straightforward. There is a fence. This is called, that's called fencing. The lathi is used as a fence, and therefore they now use it to protect and defend themselves. Now this Silambam has what we call as different types of movements. It could be cut, chop, thrust. It's based on different animals which mimic their behavior and their way of what we call as striking. It was used in the Chola, Pandya and Chera period. Silapadikram is the text in which it was referred to also. It traveled to Malaysia where it became a self-defense technique. But again, for our purpose, it is just this much. Until today, in certain very important Tamil Nadu festivals, Silambam is followed. Now comes the best model of integration of a martial arts tradition and how you keep traditions alive, which is Thangka or Sarit Sarak. See, Thangka Sarit Sarak comes from Manipur. The Meitei people are known to have used it against the British and previously for their self-defense. It comes from, it is also called Huan Lalong or Halong. It's called Halong also. Either spellings are used. And it's a very popular tradition of weapons-based defense and lethal strikes in Manipur sector. Thang means sword, Ta means spear, and that's called Thangka. When you do it with armed way, it is called Thangka. When you do it in unarmed way, it is called Sarit Sarak. But why do I say that Thangka is a very good example of how a martial arts can change itself? Is that today it has become a sport in Manipur. What has happened is that Thangka was modified and integrated as a sport in the school syllabus and curriculum. Wherein now students can practice this martial arts form. And they can in a way protect it. So there's a dance form of it, dance Thangka, and there's a sport form of it. There's a proper Thangka league. There's a proper concept of different schools competing with each other. And this has now become a very interesting tradition in Manipur. So Thangka is something which is a very good example of how things can be changed if there is the mandate of the state and if the state wants to protect it in that regard. So while Kerala was not able to do it in the right way or was not able to popularize it the way it should have been, Thangka, Manipur is a very good example of it. Anybody, any issue? You are understanding what is the basic thing which you have to remember? It is the state. But this is also models of how we have been able to protect our culture, or they have been able to protect the culture of their state via modifications. Yes? Okay. Now comes Thoda, again a tradition which basically was based on bow and arrows. So it's a wooden bow and arrow tradition, comes out of Himachal Pradesh. Now Thoda basically was based on lethal. Again, it was about killing the next person with a bow and arrow. But they removed the arrow and put a Thoda, which is a wooden piece, to remove the lethal potential. And today, again, martial arts tradition has become a sport and is played every day, every year in Baisakhi. And therefore, in the Kulu Manali tradition, it is believed that this form of archery comes out of the Mahabharata tradition. So you can see that the end has a small ball of what we call as wood, which is then used to hit the opponent. So Thoda again is a way of showing how one can survive as, or one state can allow for the survival of its tradition. So you have Thoda, Himachal Pradesh. Now we move to Punjab, Gatka. Again, a martial arts tradition which has now become a very integral part of their what we call as their cultural expression on festivals. The word Gatka comes from the what we call Gada, which is used by Lord Hanumana. That Gada, that word comes from this Gada itself, from which we get Gatka. And again, other weapons are also used and has now been integrated as a performative tradition. So you can see that it has now become a certain type of performative tradition which comes or is practiced across the Punjab sector on certain important festivals. So again, we have to add to our list Gatka, Punjab. Thereafter, what we've done till this point is just we've gone through 5 to 6 martial arts. We've noted the states. That is it. So Samhita, the standard. We've just given the names and the states. Now a standard weapon which was used at this point of time was a lathi, the oldest weapon to exist in the Indian subcontinent, originating in Punjab and Bengal both sector, and is used across villages till today as for sport and for defense purposes. Then we go to Mizoram, Imbol wrestling. Imbol wrestling resembles sumo wrestling quite a lot, or sumo wrestling is a modified form of Imbol wrestling. And coming from the Dantlang village in Mizoram, there's a very standard concept. There's a circle, and you have to push the opponent out of the circle. And there are certain types of what we call as waste cloth which they have, which you can use to in a way push and pull and throw the opponent. So inborn wrestling is about catching the belt worn by the waist of the wrestler, and it migrated to Burma, and from that it evolutionized and then into China and Japan. So very simply, inborn wrestling is just one more part of our story. Thereafter, we move to Kuttu Varsai. This has no specific state in South India, so it is not important to us. But it traveled quite a lot. It is basically empty-handed combat, which is non-armed combat. Is called Kuttu Varsai. Not specific to any specific state. Sangam literature referred to it quite a lot. So we can't add it to this because we don't have a state. Then comes Mushti Yudha. You know Kushti? What is Kushti? Kushti? Yes, this is the precursor to that. It's an unarmed martial arts tradition based on all physical, mental, and spiritual understanding. So Kushti comes out of Mushti Yudha, and this is the precursor to it. Thereafter, from Bihar, we have Parikanda, which is nothing but sword fighting, involves a sword and a shield, and sword fighting something which is not very new to us in that regard. So if I go back and just add Kuttu Varsai, no, not Kuttu Varsai, Mushti Yudha, which would be UP, and Parikanda, which would be Bihar, this whole set becomes complete. And now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 martial arts is what you have to remember. Now, what I want from you, there's no pick for Parikanda, standard sword fighting. What I want from you is I'm giving you 2 minutes or you want 3 minutes. Learn it in front of me. And I will then make questions and we'll revise here all of them. How much time do you want? 1 minute, 2 minutes. I'll be in front of you. 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes. How much do you want? 1 minute. Somebody saying 1 minute. How much? Genuinely, how much time do you want? Okay, I give you 3 minutes. It is what? It is 6:03. I ask you questions out of it. I leave it to you on this slide. I'm here in front of you. I'll keep on repeating them so that you can learn them, but I'll be silent for 2 minutes also. Kalripat, Kerala. Silambam, Tamil Nadu. Thanka, Manipur. Thoda, Himachal Pradesh. Gatka, Punjab. Inborn wrestling, Mizoram. Mishti Yudha, UP. Parikanda, Bihar. Kalripat, Silambam, Thanka, Thoda, Gatka, Inborn wrestling, Mushti Yudha, Parikanda. 2 minutes I'm giving. Look at it. Learn it. When you're done, you tell me. I would have easily left it to you, but I want to close this topic here only so that you don't have to do it yourself. One more minute. Okay. Last 30 seconds. Come on. Done. And everybody has to answer. I want to do it with this also and theatre so that we are done with this. You don't have to learn it again. Done? Okay, done. Perfect. Kalripat, Kerala, Silamban, Tamil Nadu, Thangta, Manipur, Thoda, Himachal Pradesh, Gatka, Inborn wrestling, Mushti Yudha, Parikanda. Okay. Now let's do certain questions. Okay. See, Mayuri, remember, Thang, Ta and Ka are different. Thang Ka is a what we call as intangible heritage-based tradition coming out of this area. It's a painting tradition. Thang Ka. This is Thang Ta. Ka Thang Ka, if you remember, we did in painting, which is the Tibetan concept of making paintings. So Thang Ta, not Ka. Thang Ta. I have written. Okay. Thang Ta. Now better? Okay. Okay. Now. Come on. If I'm not said incorrect, it is correct. 85% totally correct. Silamban is Tamil Nadu. These two I have reversed. Thangta is Manipur. Thang and Inborn wrestling is Mizoram. Perfect. Let's take one more of these, then I'll change the type of question. And this is the realistic question which comes in the examination. Nothing more, nothing less. Okay, now. Come on. Perfect. So this is incorrectly matched. This is Bihar. This is incorrectly matched. This is UP. This is incorrectly matched. This is Punjab. So again, easy question. Now let me change the type of question. This is making sense? Helping? Do I need to do this? I can easily move on to theatre forms. You want this? You don't want this? Yes. Okay. A, B, C, D, E. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A. Okay. Come on. Giving you time. Kashish, you are finding this easy right now. That is the power of revision and the fact that I'm doing it. Slowly but surely, if you don't revise, this will seem to be very difficult. The next one, as it is, I will give you a difficult one. Perfect, 89% totally correct. The order is reversed. The order is reversed. Sarit Sarak is nothing but the name of Thangta. That was the catch. Thangta, yes. So Sarit Sarak, Manipur, Imbo Wrestling, Mizoram, Thoda, Himachal Pradesh, Kalripat, Kerala, Silamban, Tamil Nadu. So it was 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now, what I'll do is, I'll mix up these ones because whatever we've done till this point, I think all of the martial arts are done. All of the martial arts are done. We've done Kalripat, we've done Silamban, we've done Thangta, we've done Thoda, Gatka, Imbo, and Mushti, Karikanda. Now I'll mix puppetry, dance, and the concept of this together. This way, at least 3 different modules are getting mixed up. So upper part, this is clear. It's Kundai, Yampuri, Kathak, Pavakotu, Imbo Wrestling, Kerala, UP, Bihar, Odisha, Mizoram. Perfect, Avni, no issues. So some of you just followed how I wrote the second column. Some of you got confused. A and B. C. Kundai is Odisha, Yampuri is Bihar, Kathak is UP, Pavakotu is Kerala, Imbo Wrestling is Mizoram. 4, 3, 2, 1, 5. Yes, answer C. So can I now, in a way, say that your puppetry and your martial arts has been revised? Yes. Perfect, Ankit. Great. That is also a good way to do it. Now, before we do music, I want to do theater, and then we'll do music. Okay. So as of right now, what have we added? We've added 10 puppetry, 8 classical dance, and 8 martial arts. Anybody has any issue in these 26? You know what to do? Tell me what is the way to make sure that you never forget these in any way or form. Very good. Revision. My basic request will be write the 10 down, write the 8 down, paste it. You need revision, obviously. See, the point is they will not ask details. Sridevi. The point is mains question is very difficult. It will more be Kathak doesn't mean Kathakali. Kathakali is different, Kathak is different. The point is, mains question will be larger. How do you protect martial arts? You can't be asked to write a short note on any one of them. Statement-based questions can come from here, which I've given you that much understanding. Puppetry martial arts, again, one word can be used to define it. So have to at least go through it. But the obvious question would be state. Yes? Okay. Now, for any contingency, you would have to know a little bit more. But basic thing you have to see, this is what you run from, right? When you say there is so much to learn in art and culture, this is what you mean, right? This 10, 8, and 8 is what is so much for you. So what I'm trying to do here is I'm making you learn it in class only. So that if you remember only 1% or any glimpse of the class, your answer will be done. You need revision. Obviously, you need revision. And there's nobody who cannot do this without revision. My simple rule, 15 minutes rule, learn one each day, give art and culture 15 minutes, and you will become a master of art and culture. And if not, just write them down, paste it in front of you. It will help you from time to time. You will see it. You can also take out the time, and I would be glad that if you can put in an hour, watch videos on these. Maybe it will help you create a certain memory also. In the process of typing it into the phone or into the laptop or in the whatever platform you're using, you will also revise in that way. So if you can take out a certain amount of time in your day, take a little bit of interest, it should not be a big problem for you generally. Yes? Theatre. The first is Bhavai. Now, Bhavai comes from the Gujarat Rajasthan sector. What is theatre? Theatre is nothing but what we call as drama tradition. But theatre drama tradition has dance, music. It has a certain way of what we call as representation of emotions. It has drama. It has everything. Theatres, I don't think anybody... Have you been to a theatre? Live theatre. Not theatre movie one. Theatre performance. Not cinema hall. Performance of live drama in front of you. Jatras for Sridevi? Yes, in live theatre. So you understand what I mean by saying that there is a certain type of festive environment which is created around a theatre. And dance, drama, emotion, all these things come together. So Bhavai coming from Gujarat, Rajasthan. And remember in Nitin Singhania, he's messed up the states for some reason. You follow what is given here. He's messed up 2-3 states. So you have Bhavai, Gujarat, Rajasthan. Kutch, Kathiawar sector, both Gujarat and Rajasthan, it is followed. Devotional, sentimental. And here the dance narrates small plays within the larger drama itself. It is called Vesha. And semi-classical music is used along with this whole theatre tradition. It is a drama tradition, but within the drama tradition, it has dance inbuilt into it. And very beautiful costumes, very interesting scenes are depicted. And in itself, it represents the culture of these two states very, very well. So for us, Gujarat and Rajasthan, in the examination, either is written, it is right. Both are written, then that question is more or less framed in the wrong way. Then you have Nautanki. We use this word for a form of saying that you are nothing but a dramebaz or a Nautanki. So Nautanki is not devotional, but is on social commentary. Social commentary comes from Uttar Pradesh and is even referred to in the Aine-Akbari by Abul Fazl. They talk about historical social folktales, mostly social commentary. They will tell you a story to give you an understanding of society. And the simple point is, Kanpur, Lucknow, Hathras are very important areas where the dialogues are said in a lyrical fashion. They sing the dialogues. And the Nagada which you've seen, Nagada, is used to beat the drum and take the attention of the people towards the stage itself. So Nautanki, that way, coming from UP, is an important one. Is a very standard word for drama itself. Now comes Ras Leela, standard Uttar Pradesh, Mathura, Agra sector, depicts the stories of Lord Krishna. Song, drama, dance, everything again part of the Ras Leela itself. I think Ras Leela is miswritten in Nitin Singhania. If I remember correctly, is it a Ras Leela, I think Gujarat or something. Okay. Thereafter, we have one of the most important theatre traditions coming from Kashmir Valley, which is called Band Pather. Band Pather is important because it is a traditional form which is done by the agrarian community of this area. And in Band Pather, they tend to enact their day-to-day ideas and day-to-day living. Through Band Pather, we actually get to know Band Pather. We actually get to know the life of the people in Kashmir and how the agrarian sector in Kashmir has survived and what are their ideas and their social understanding of the world itself. Therefore, Band Pather becomes a window to the social ideas and concepts of Kashmir. Very important because this becomes an invaluable source to understand the culture. Then you have Swang, which is a theatre form very popular in Punjab and Haryana. Rohtak and Hatras, again, very important areas. And in this drama, again, the verses are sung. So yes, art and state is important for the examination. Yes, they can't ask you to write a whole story about them. That's not the point. So Swang, Punjab and Haryana are the two states which are important for us. Thereafter, this is Swang for you. Very beautiful tradition. Ever get a chance to be a part of it, never say no. Very musical. It's a very different type of theatre. They sing every act. So there are people who are acting, they're singing the lyrics and the dialogues. Very beautiful form of expression. Statement related questions, Abhinav, the problem is that if they give you statement related questions, they would have to go into so much detail that you will not get it until unless you're a practitioner. I have given you 2 to 3 basic statements. I'm telling you the unique features. First, learn what is necessary. Once you know the states, you can know one word about it. You know nothing is guaranteed in UPSC. 90%, 99% is the question which is coming. Looking at the pattern. If they have asked something out of the box, they've asked it for classical dances. So you remember this first. If you can this, you do this, then you learn each and every one characteristic of each. So Bhavai is going to be again lyrical form, Nautanki, social commentary, Ras Leela, Krishna Bhakti, Banpatir, social commentary of Kashmir, Swang again, lyrical form of expression. Getting my point? So the problem is very straightforward that based on the pattern, we have to stick to this. One random day they ask a very in-turn question, in-depth question. As it is, you can't answer. Okay. Now comes March. March is a word which actually comes from munch. Munch is a word which is used for what we call as a type of stage. Comes from MP, mythological romantic folklore. Songs are given importance between dialogues. So basically they will give dialogues and then there will be dance traditions. Dialogues are called bol, and rim is the way you narrate it. Vanag is also a word which is used for narration. Narration, vanag and rim, bol is what you use. Rangat is the environment of the theater itself. Achhi rangat hai. The simple point of the matter is vanag is the narration, bol or rim is the dialogues. So for our purpose, March MP. Everybody's following me what I'm doing. I can easily go through them and keep on adding it to the list because I again want to revise it with you. Okay, this is March. Very beautiful costumes. Very important to sing in between dialogues. Very, very important. So you can realize how the theater tradition in India is keeping everything alive, which is it is keeping our way of singing, our singing tradition, our drama tradition, our dance tradition, and our what we call as abhinay, which is the acting tradition. Alive. Four things it is keeping alive at the same point of time. It is keeping at the same point of time. The simple point of the matter is this is something unexceptional. This is something unexceptional because we have not seen it previously. And this is why these theater traditions are important. They bring all our culture together into one basic concept. But again, I can guarantee to you, you have known Nautanki. I don't think you know the names of the others, which is that we do not buy, we will buy tickets to, as far as I said theater, what came to your mind was a movie theater. Unfortunately, Bhavai, Banpater, Swang, March, theaters go empty. And people don't have the patience to sit and do any of it. That is the biggest issue. That they actually, today we are, as I said, that fast forwarding generation. We cannot sit through these long 1 hour, 2 hour, what we call as routines in that regard. That is the unfortunate part. Now, Ankainat, if you remember, I told you is related to the Satarya tradition, Assam. Again, Shankaradeva and Mahadeva, who are very two important, very preceptors of Vaishnavism in the Assam sector, they were the ones who allowed Satarya to become Ankainat. Narration is in Sanskrit and later switches to Brajboli. As you remember, Brajboli is a mixture of Maithili plus Assamese. There's a Sutradhar who will sit there, who will tell you what is the story. He will narrate the story. Masks are used to express different types of parts of or different aspects of this tradition. So they're very elaborate costumes and very elaborate masks are also used to very simply project something. So the Ankainat, Assam. Then the next one is Dashavatar. Comes from Goa. Dashavatar, as it says, is nothing but a story of the avatars of Lord Vishnu. But what is interesting is coming in the Goan sector, this was how Hinduism survived in Portuguese Goa. So they use again masks and paper mache wood masks. But as I said, Dashavatar is the way in Portuguese territory, it is Hinduistic practice. That is why it is important in that regard. That very simply, we have a reminiscence of Hinduism in this sector. And in Portuguese Goa, Dashavatar was the way how Lord Vishnu was celebrated and his 10 avatars were reserved and celebrated. Now come the very important, because they are all very close and mostly come from Kerala only, but are interrelated to each other. And two of them have UNESCO World Heritage Tag. One is called Krishna Attam. So Kerala, Krishna means that it is related to the story of Lord Krishna. And it was another patronage of the Calicut king. But why it is important? Because it is done on 8 days consecutively. And Krishna Attam, very simply, is Kathakali, but now in theatre form. It's not dance, it is the story of Lord Krishna. Now, Yashgana is coming from Karnataka, the most celebrated, oldest tradition of theatre in Karnataka. And it is performed by the Jakalu Varu community, preserved by and was propagated during the Vijayanagara period. Dance drama, dusk to dawn, starts in the morning, ends in the evening. And Yashgana has very beautiful, you can see the type of costumes, the level of commitment which these men and women have, the expressions, the acting, the commitment to their art is unparalleled and does not get the level of appreciation which they deserve. So adding it to our list, Krishna Attam, Yasha Gana. Okay. Now we move to Therakut. Coming from Tamil Nadu, it's a street play. It is done in the annual temple festival of the rain god for rich harvest. Again, themes are Mahabharata and combination of song, dance, drama. Now you can see Therakut, the way they represent their characters. Yes, guys. The way they represent their characters are out of this world. Imagine this person going through multiple hours of what we call as makeup and dressing up to represent something so pristine and important. And if you can't appreciate it, you will never appreciate Indian culture because we take it for granted. Most of you don't even know what it is. But coming from the Tamil Nadu sector, it is in itself a spectacle to watch. So when I go back to Therakut, Tamil Nadu, they don't get proper work they do Draupadi scene, which is the very celebrated scene of what is called Krishna giving Draupadi the cloth. So very simply, they don't get proper work, they don't get proper money. You tell me the name of a Therakut practitioner or a practitioner of Yashgana. You tell me. You would know the name of actors, actresses. You would know the name of social influencers. You will know the name of useless people. But the people who actually protect our culture, Dashavatar, Krishnattam, Yashgana, Therakut, do we? And it's not you. I also have no idea about their identities. That is the unfortunate part of the story. That is the unfortunate part of the story. That very simply, we don't care. We haven't cared, and we still don't care. Yes, this is the scene, properly scene. Now, very interesting. Kudiyattam, UNESCO Intangible Heritage Practice. Why is it important? Kerala, but Sanskrit tradition. It's Kerala, but it's the Sanskrit theatre tradition. And in this hand gestures, eye movements, which are very important coming from Kathakali, these hand gestures and eye movements are adopted. You don't have to remember the names of the main characters. But Kudiyattam is in itself a spectacle again. Happens only in one sector, one part of the year. But again, if you get a chance, it is because you will not understand it. Unfortunately, you don't understand Sanskrit also. But it's a Sanskritic tradition, and you can see how much headgear, how much makeup, how much it means to them to perform it. So Kudiyattam in itself is again a very important tradition coming out of Kerala. And if I add to it, see, Velipattu is a musical theatre from Tamil Nadu, Kerala. But the next, which is related to Kudiyattam very, very closely, is Mudiyattu. Mudiyattu again comes from Kerala and is linked to the Bhadrakali cult of Kerala. The Kali cult of Kerala, wherein the story of how Asura Darika was killed by Bhadrakali, it is represented by this, the what we call as practitioner. So before I show you, I'll just add it to the list. Kudiyattam, Mudiyattu. Kudiyattam, Mudiyattu, Kerala. And just to show you the spectacle of Mudiyattu, this is how the practitioner, in a way, dresses as goddess Kali. And this is the Bhadrakali cult. Darika is the Asura which Bhadrakali kills. And the way it is represented is again magical. I literally recommend you watching a video on Mudiyattu. Again, an intangible heritage. This will give you goosebumps, literally. The level of commitment which is needed to sit through to put this type of makeup on the face is unparalleled. I cannot emphasize enough. When I teach it, I feel privileged to be part of this conversation because it allows me to, in a way, give homage to these important traditions in India. Unfortunately, these sad stories, I don't know who this man is who is putting this effort to preserve something which truly is Indian culture. So understand this point. Understand this point. It's not all female, all male. It's whoever is practicing is male, mostly. The point is that somebody in India today is sacrificing on the comforts of or the luxuries of modern world. Somebody who is teaching his son or daughter to be this, knowing that they will never get the recognition, money, or even a job in the government because of what they're doing, surviving on any form of grant which comes from the temple itself. These men and women are truly the real Indians. So this practice, these traditions make India what it is today, and it should be remembered in that way. And if you can watch 1 to 2 seconds of any of these, it will help you understand the larger concept better. So here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Now again 14, total 14. Hardeep, we will discuss tangible and intangible heritages tomorrow. Full discussion is there. Don't worry about that. I will show you the list of 14 intangible heritages and the tangible heritages also. Don't worry. That's a separate topic. Every topic which you have to do, Nitin Singhani, everything is covered. Don't worry about that. So as of right now, the last major descriptive thing which we do today. After this, you don't have to. After this, I'll give you a break and we can thereafter go into music. Music, I will make you listen to music. So it should be a little bit soothing. It should be a little bit better. But the point is, last thing, if you can learn this with me, 10 plus 8 plus 8 plus 14. If you can learn these 32 with me, then work is done. I again give you 4 minutes, 4 to 5 minutes. Once you're done, everybody writes done. I would like to quiz you on this. Bhavai, Gujarat, Rajasthan, Nautanki, Raslila, Bandpater, Swang, March, Ankainat, Dashavatar, Krishnattam, in a way, Krishnattam, Kudiyattam, and Mudiyattu are from the same state, which is Kerala. Yasgana, Therakuttu, Velapattu is Tamil Nadu and Kerala both. Take your time. I want to quiz you on this. And thereafter, we take a break. Last major topic. Once music is done, small section, handicrafts. If needed, we can shift handicrafts tomorrow also. Don't worry. Come on. Bhavai, Nautanki, Raslila, Bandpater, Swang, March. Come on. Okay. Can I? Done, 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 done. Okay, perfect. Now, okay. Perfect. 81% totally correct. 774%. Okay. So we know that this is totally correct. Yes, Ghana. Mudia 2 is also correct. This is also Kerala only. So two pairs are correct. Let's change it up. Yes, Ghana is Karnataka. It's Karnataka. Perfect. 90% correct. Wow. Incorrect. Bang Pachar is Kashmir. March is the only one which is correct. Swang is either Punjab or Haryana. So perfect. Let's do one more and then we can take a break. Okay. One. Mixed match. 73% totally correct. Yes. Bhavai is Rajasthan or Gujarat. Ankai Nut is Assam. Thirakut is Tamil Nadu. This is the one which you would have most probably messed up. Thirakut. Yes. Want to see the leaderboard? Leaderboard. I don't know how out of how many questions it is. Nitin 70, Tabdi 70, Akanksha Tyagi never asked me anything but 70, Himanshu 70, Shubham, Neha very good, Mayuri, Arundhati again never asked me anything but very good. They are the morning babas of the class but very smart. Aman, Vishal, Chinu, Samishta very good. Abhinav, Hardeep, I think you got one wrong. Kashish, Monica, Payal, Anu, Ankit, you are very good. Ankit, well you are also able to push through. So Payal, perfect. I see. I do this because I want you to be very simply clear when you leave this class. I don't want it to be too messy. I can leave it to you, but why not use this time? So can we take a break now and can we start music after this? Very good. So can we start music after we come back from this? Yes. This means that tomorrow we will have two very heavy topics to cover. The one which I will start in the morning itself. One is going to be 6 schools of philosophy, heavy topic, and the other is going to be numismatics. We will do mains answer writing also tomorrow, don't worry. So we will have numismatics and we will have 6 schools of philosophy, heavy topics. Then multiple small topics, tangible heritages, intangible heritages, cultural institutions, the concept of classical language, the concept of awards. Then one very heavy topic which students hate, which is literature. Then small topic, foreign travelers. So again, we will also have the concept of sun temples, the pottery. One thing which I want to do is that before I end this, do I have it here? Wait 1 second. I want to see if it is with me today only. Is pottery not with me? No. Handicrafts is with me. So I'll finish this. Tomorrow, smaller topics, very small topics. So don't worry about that. We'll have close to 3 big topics and then small topics. Once we're back, we'll discuss this. I'll leave you here. So the way I'll do it is in the morning, I'll do the heavy topics. By the end of it, I'll go slow. Current affairs also I will do with you. I will do G20. I'll do the new Shantiniketan and Chanakeshwara temple, Hoyswara temple, so that this is over. Whatever current affairs is relevant till this point, I'll do it with you. Right? So I'll see you at 7:05 and we'll take the story forward. Right? See you. Shubham, welcome back. No, Avni, the videos will not remain for a week. They remain perpetually. That was something which was initially in between introduced that has been rolled back. So Shubham has, I'm making his comment public. Moody to video literally gave me goosebumps. Beautiful. Thank you for making us proud Indians. Thank you for all. Well, Shubham, my pleasure. The least I can do. I don't think the classes will get downloaded. It will remain in your dashboard. I doubt they are getting downloaded. If it does, very good. If it doesn't, I don't know. Okay. So we have to discuss the Indian music tradition. Now here again, two types of standard questions. Mains question can come through with regards to the difference between what we call as Carnatic music and Hindustani music. That is the first type of question which can come. I will teach you what is the basic difference about them. In prelims, mostly they can play with this concept of asking you certain basic characteristics or what is gharana system and generally what is related to it. But again, something very, very, very rare vis-a-vis asking you gharanas and people associated with it. The other match the following question which can come is that there are four types of instruments and they have technical terms. That, for example, percussion instruments. Percussion means, for example, tabla, dholak are percussion instruments. So they are called avanadha vadya. This is what they mostly play with. This is the only thing which they can ask in prelims realistically. Thereafter, solid instruments which do not require tuning, ganavadya. So for example, you would have seen people who have that ghada on which they play certain music. Thereafter, you have wind instruments, which is shushiravadya. Wind instruments, flute, saxophone, standard things. Thereafter, you have string instruments, which is guitar and other string instruments, which is tatavadya. So very simply, this is what can be asked. A, P, G, S, S, W, T, S. That's it. You just remember percussion, solid, wind instruments, which are string. Violin is a string instrument. So avadhana, gana, shusha, and tata. So very simply, this is a very standard question which you will find in mocks also. This is a question which is to irritate a candidate basically, not really a realistic question. So that way is not something you need to emphasize too much on. Other than that, there are certain words which are very important for you. And how do we divide Indian music into Carnatic and Hindustani, and how are they different to each other? Now, in India, we have found multiple references to the concept of music in multiple texts. But again, something films-based, fact-based is that you have Matang Muni who has talked about Rag in the Brihadeshi. Thereafter, you have Nanda who has talked about in the Sangeet Markanda how different authors and different classifications are there. And then you have Sarangadeva who has written the Sangeet Ratnakar, which basically tells you rags. I will tell you what is rag, tal, and the smaller words itself. So there are two types of questions: mains, prelims. Prelims, as I said, is more oriented towards that type of instruments and the technical words and these texts. But I want to go into the more what we call as fundamental aspects of Indian music. So let's talk about what makes music music. What are the basic components of dance? What are the basic components of dance? Basic components of dance. Lasya, Tandava, or Nitya, and Natya. These are the basic components. The same way, we have components of music. For example, see, when these things come together, we get music. One is swar. So if you have been practicing music or you know basic things about music, you would know swar, which is sa re ga ma pa dha ni sa, the standard swar, notational words which are used to make a standard classical music in India, which is sa re ga ma standard. Thereafter, you have rag, which is when you put these swars in a certain way, they become melody, which is that you put a tal, which is a tempo behind it, and you start to then put the swar in a certain way, you will get a rag. So when tal meets samay, which is how much time difference needs to be there, plus swar, you get a rag. And rag can be happy song, sad song, energetic song, motivational song. That is ras. What is the emotion that music evokes? So you have a tal, for example, very straightforward tal. It could be anything. So the time difference between these two is the samay. So 1, 2, 3 is a tal. Tal could be fast, tal could be slow. Tal could be a mixture of each. Then when I add into the tal a certain swar, for example, sa re ga ma pa dha ni sa, for example, I put it into the tal and I link the tal with the swar and I use the samay, I get a rag. Rag is nothing but music. Rag is nothing but music, and that music can have something as an emotion, which is the ras or the bhav. So you again don't have to show it to the examiner in the examination that what is this and that. You just need to know the basic concept. Samay, time, which is the difference between the tals. So 1, 2, 3. I'm giving 1 second, for example. 1, 2, 3. So the time difference is samay. In music, time matters. When the beat will drop, when the beat will go up, all these things matter. Samay matters. Timing of the swar, timing of the rag matters. Again, standard words should not be difficult for you. Easy? Easy? Yes. Okay. Now we divide our music. Rag is nothing but the song itself. Rag is the song. Rag is made out of tal and swar. See, think of it like this. You have tal, which is, this is the grammar, this is the space, and this is the alphabets. So what you get is a sentence. Now you get it. That if you have the right alphabets in the right spacing with the right grammar, you get a sentence. That is the basic analogy which I can give you with regards to tal, samay, swar, rag, and these things. Now, in India, we divide our music into 3 types: Hindustani, Carnatic, folk. Now, first and foremost thing, let's talk about folk. Let's get it away from our basic system. When we talk about folk music, I have given you this, what we call as table. Don't have to worry about it. The last thing which you will ever pick up, if it is your home state, or if your home state is given in this, you note it down, know about it. Other than that, I don't want you to get caught up in folk music. So this only needs to be done from interview perspective. which is learn the folk music and the folk dance of your state. Now let's come back to the concept of Hindustani and Carnatic. Now see, Hindustani and Carnatic. First is the concept of location. This is North Indian music. This is South Indian music. Further, Hindustani has both indigenous plus what we call as Persian plus foreign elements. It's not fully there. Carnatic, on the other hand, is fully indigenous development. Fully indigenous development. Now, when we talk about Hindustani, Hindustani is divided into gharanas and has multiple schools. While Carnatic, there is no gharana system or subtypes. What do I mean by gharana? Now see, gharana system. Do you understand silsila? Sufi order, silsila. Silsila, you understand? This is basically silsila. See, there could be a music, for example, A. There's a music called A. And that music, for example, has a standard thing. Sa, 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 re, re, ga, ga, ma, ma. The standard music. Now, there are gharanas which will sing the same thing, but they will have a certain uniqueness to it. So there could be gharana, which is, for example, Delhi gharana, or Patiala gharana. What Delhi gharana does is that it modifies it to sa, 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 but there is re, re, re. They add one more re. And ga, ga, ma, ma. Same standard thing. Thereafter, Patiala, for example, would be same thing, but sa, 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 re, re. They go for double, triple ga, 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 ma, ma. So these are called peculiarities. These are uniqueness. So it is a Guru Shishya tradition. It is a Guru and Shishya tradition in which a certain Guru will teach his Shishya a certain uniqueness, and that is taken forward by that gharana. So in North India, there are multiple gharanas. But the same song can be sung in 3 to 4 different ways without fundamentally changing the song itself. So the way we have cultural schools, gharana system is the name for different schools. Anybody has any issue in understanding gharana? Gharana. See, gharana. A system of social organization linking musicians and dancers by linear apprenticeship, adherence to particular musical style. They differentiate from one another on musical ideology, difference in thinking, teaching, and performance, along with how they have a certain type of thing. Gwalior gharana is considered the oldest. Thereafter, you have Agra, Indore, Jaipur, Kirana, Patiala, Delhi. Every song has a different gharana itself. So the place matters, and that place will dictate how you sing that song. So are we clear with regards to what is the concept of gharana? Kirana is a place. Are we clear with regards to gharana system? Gharana. Come on. Okay. Now the biggest difference between Hindustani and Carnatic is that it allows for change, improvisation, elaboration in the main rag. No change or improvisation is allowed. Very simply, see, there are basically when we talk about Carnatic and the Hindustani, we know that it has different origins. The difference is in improvisation and no improvisation. And here there are 6 rags. Here there are 72 rags. And that is why I'll show you how in Hindustani, because there are less rags, they can make their own rags. On the other hand, in Carnatic, there is what is called control over everything. They have only 6 rags, so they play with the rags a lot more. They have 72 rags. Now, when we talk about Hindustani music, Indian music plus Persian plus Turkish music, focused on musical structures based on improvisation, and it is vocal centric. Plus, there are multiple types: Drupad, Dhamar, Hori, Khayal, Tapa, Tarang, Thumri. I will make you listen to some of them. But before I do that, I want to discuss this word improvisation and elaboration. See, improvisation is changing the structure. So, sa, sa, re, re, ga, ga, ma. Now, I can improvise. Sa, re, sa, re, re, ga, ma, ga, ma. What I've done is I've added elements, and that has now become a certain type of improvisation. This is improvise. I'm changing. And in Hindustani music, improvisation is very common. Elaboration, on the other hand, is very simply more important, because you would have heard it for sure, where a person sits on one swar quite a lot. So, sa, sa, re, they will sit on the same swar and then come back to the music. This is called elaboration. I am pushing the swar quite a lot. When I will make you hear, you look out for these 2 things. Now, the purpose of making you hear this is 2 things. Very straightforward. First is to understand improvisation and elaboration better. Second is, if you like any of them, try to develop a certain type of taste for them, because the age group in which the board is going to be, it will help you. So, improvisation, elaboration. Now, let's start with the first type of music. The first subtype of Hindustani music, and the oldest and the grandest, which is even mentioned in the Natya Shastra, is Drupad, for which Tansen is known for. Akbar had 3 very important singers, and they all were Drupad singers: Baba Gopal Das, Swami Haridas, and Tansen. And Drupad is a poetic expression with extended representation style, which is elaboration style. Now, Drupad is a grand music. It's a very grand music. Now, would you like to listen to Drupad? Yes, okay. So what I'll do is that my mic is here, which you can hear here. I'll bring it down so that I can use it with my phone. So it will be a little bit easier for me to very simply make you listen to it. So don't mind this boom mic here. So it's here just to make you listen to it. So yes, let's do one thing. Let's listen to Drupad. Okay. Get the elaboration? Re. So he sat on re. This is called elaboration. Very elaborative. They push it in that sense. Long. This is very standard. You will see it. I think you get my point. The ba, we were sitting on it. The elaboration of ba, that is called elaboration. I think you get what elaboration is, right? What is elaboration? You understand Drupal. Very grand music, very, very grand music. And when it is believed that Tansen used to actually sing, it used to rain along with his voice. That was the level of the beat, whatever. It was the level of commitment he had to the song tradition. So Drupal, you can see grand, poetic, big, and elaboration. Clear? Clear. Because then I move to Khayal, and Khayal is improvisation. Yes, natural rain, it is believed. For example, when Bismillah Khan and Tansen, Bismillah Khan used to use his Shenahi, and Tansen, when they used to sing and when he used to play, there's a different type of, when God used to also cry in that regard. Okay, now comes Khayal. Khayal developed by Amir Khusro, and this is the one which is for improvisation, because there's a problem with Khayal. The problem, or the problem which the singers have to overcome, there's a bandish. Bandish means what we call as certain type of slavery to that, or bandish. And the bandish is, they can easily either. And they're telling me that the mic is in the frame. Obviously, it is in the frame because I brought it down. Okay. So, as I said, the problem is that they can only use 2 to 8 lines, which is either 2 lines or 8 lines. So, 2 or 8 lines, they have to sing the 2 lines or the 8 lines. This is called bandish. They are captivated by that. They can't go beyond the 2 lines, or they can't go beyond the 8 lines. So, what they do is they sing the 2 lines in multiple ways. They sing the 8 lines in multiple ways. And in Khayal, there are different types of Khayal, which is, for example, love Khayal, praise of King Khayal, seasonal Khayal, divine love. And that is why there are multiple Khayal gharanas also. Gwalior, Kirana, Agra, Patiala, Bindi Bazaar. Basically, they have their own way of improvising also. Gwalior is the oldest that way, but the point I'm trying to argue is this is not a totally different thing. That we saw elaboration. Now I want you to listen to Khayal. Can I do that? Rajan Mishra, very celebrated. Unfortunately, we lost Rajan Mishra with regards to the COVID-19 pandemic, but both were known to be the towering figures when it comes to the Khayal sector itself. Let's talk about it. Rajan Sajan Mishra. Okay. See, this is called Monsoon Khayal, Rajan Sajan Mishra. You can find it easily if you write it on YouTube. See, one line, 2 types. Now you see how we'll take it further. So he has these 2 lines. Now you see, I'll show you the place where he will now again improvise. One. Get it? 5 different ways of singing the same line. Were you able to make out improvisation? Yes or no? Make sense? Same line, 5 different types. Every time they change the tone, I gave you a symbol. 5 different ways of singing the same line. This is called improvisation. I hope this is helping you understand something which doesn't really matter for the examination, but for your understanding itself, which is what is the difference between improvisation and elaboration. Clear, everybody? Okay. Different pitch, different rhythm, and no, Neha, what is the point? In Carnatic, what will happen is every improvisation is already documented. So you can't randomly sit and change the rag. See, 6 rags are there, so you can play with them quite a lot. In South India, every rag improvisation is already documented. There are 72 ways of singing. You will only do it in the 72 ways. Then on the spot change can only be possible in North India. Getting my point? This is called improvisation. Improvisation is something which is not considered good in Carnatic music. This is coming from the Central Asian influence, wherein you are changing the rags and the tals. Right? Can we go to Thumri? Thumri is totally different ras. These two were grand. They were about celebration of somebody. This is called the music of love or the sorrow ras, which is that you long for somebody. The bhakti ras comes in Eastern India. Lucknow, Banaras are the two major centers. Very romantic, erotic style of singing, and every khayal concert will end with a Thumri. Braj is used, and different gharanas are Banaras, Lucknow, and Patiala. Would you like to listen to Thumri? Thumri is a totally different kind of understanding, but it is equally technical, and you will see that there are different tempos in Thumri. I will show you the initial tempo and then the last tempo. Can we do that? Do I need to do it? Yes. If you can develop a taste for any of these, it will help you. Okay. This is Nina Burmi, the Indian very known again Darbar festival. She sang very beautiful singer that way. Okay. So you can see the expression is totally different. The way it is coming out is totally different, and this is the starting point. This is where it is at the starting point. I'll take you to the highest point, and then how she brings it down. But I hope you can now make out how Thumri is a totally different ras. This is called totally different ras in that regard. So now I'll take it to the point where she will go to a point where she's improvising also, she's elaborating also, and she's reached the high point of that music. Okay, so you get the point, which is that high point, tempo changes, and the ras of Thumri is totally different. Make sense? Thumri. Thumri clear? Okay. Now, last is something which all of you already know, which is ghazal. You would have heard, for example, either Iqbal or Ghalib, or you have Jagjit Singh, or one of the famous Rumi, Hafiz, multiple personalities. Again, the proponent of it is the disciple of Nizamuddin Auliya, Amir Khusro. He was known for his ghazals and spread throughout South Asia at this point of time due to the influence of Sufi music. Becomes a very important part of Sufi music itself. Zenith, Mughal India. But this is basically poem in the form of music. Poem in the form of music. So I think ghazal, I don't need to make you hear. You already know what is ghazal, right? Because I want to then move to Carnatic. Yes, great. So you already know ghazal. Now, when we come to Carnatic music, the concept totally changes. Because here there's a lot of rules and regulations which need to be followed. And the most important, what we call as instrument, is the mridangam. While you have the tabla, which is very important in North India, here the very iconic mridangam is there. Now, Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka, the whole South Indian sector, we have multiple texts which tell us about the South Indian tradition of what we call as Carnatic music. So you have Sangeet Sudhakara, which is 14th century by Haripala, which talks about the rules and regulations. Then you have Surandar Dar, who is a prolific composer and writer, and is considered the father of Carnatic music. He is the one who was the father of Carnatic music. He is the one who created the rules and regulations and how we need to go forward with regards to that. Now, the next most important personality, the word which you can expect in the examination, is Venkatamakhi, who's the one who developed the Melakartas. These are nothing but the ragas. The word for rag in the South Indian sector is called Melakarta. Melakarta is South Indian rags or nothing but how he divided it. It is here that 72 rags were developed, and we are bound by that in regards to that. The three major singers together, known as the Trinity of Carnatic music, Tyagaraja, Swama Shastri, Muttuswami. Three very important personalities. Now, just to close it, and then I will need to listen to Carnatic music. You have the difference between these two, which is something which you can expect in the examination. Arab, Persian, Afghan influence on Hindustani, totally indigenous. Scope for improvisation variation is there. No freedom because all improvisations are already documented. Subtypes are there, subtypes are not there. Instrumental and vocal, both vocal and instrumental is important. Adherence to time is important. The basic way we see these different instruments are also different. And the two instruments which are common to the north and south is nothing but flute and violin. Now, we'll end this topic by listening to Carnatic music, and thereafter we will discuss 5 minutes handicrafts. So let me 1 second. The Thumri singer was Nina Buni. Now this is the grandeur of Carnatic music. Violin rhythm together. See, some of you will say that she is improvising. No, this is called Rag Sanmukha Priya. This is actually the way it has to be sung. So all things are in a way embedded into that rag. This is the exact way to do it. So this is not improvisation and narration. She's not changing anything. Exact word to word she's singing. So all improvisations are already part of a rag, which is already the Shanmukha Priya already says that this is the way you have to sing. Very, very difficult. Carnatic music, very difficult because you can't break the rules. So very, very difficult that way. Get it? How Carnatic is quite difficult that way because you can play with Hindustani, but in South everything is already documented, cannot change it. I hope you are able to understand the two contrasting images of North and South, how they are quite similar but also different in the same way. In a way, I do this just to basically give you a certain understanding of music. If you can listen to any of them, if you like any of them, if you want to develop a certain thing, totally your call. So, and mostly because of the sorrows of UPSC, people tend to like Thumri more or Ghazal more. But the point is, anything which you like, listen to it. It will help you maybe in connecting with the board. But the simple point is, I hope this basic, what we call as exercise, help you in understanding music better, or at least creating a certain type of understanding of music generally. Yes? Yes? No? Come on. Can we discuss handicrafts and end the session? Okay. Now, when we talk about handicrafts, the chapter which you will see in Nitin Singhania has multiple handicrafts. I am doing the ones which are important for the examination and have been in the news also. So here, these are the brass work. These are modern day brass work in India. And again, brass is an alloy of copper, but it's a very important, what we call as tradition in India generally. So again, here you have to only remember the name of the state from which it comes from. So you have Gaja Tandava, which comes from Kerala, obviously from Kerala because the Tandava, the Chola art tradition is linked to the Kerala tradition itself. Thereafter, you have Dokra casting, has been in the news quite a lot because Dokra utensils were given to G20 members. And it comes from Odisha, West Bengal. Very, very, very important, have to remember it. Thereafter, you have Pahaldar lamps, which are quite common again in the Jaipur, Uttar Pradesh sector, copper lamps which are there. And then there is Fema Bharti, which is Warangal. This is what you have to remember. Gaja Tandava, Kerala, Dokra, Odisha, thereafter Pahaldar, Jaipur, UP, and Fema Bharti, Warangal. If you can remember this, most of the questions can be managed. I will talk about Dokra, but whenever Dokra casting comes in the news, you have to pay a little bit of more attention because it has been in the news quite a lot this time. Tomorrow I'll have a small conversation with you about it. So you have Gaja Tandava, Kerala, Dokra, Odisha, West Bengal, Pahaldar, Jaipur, Fema Bharti, Warangal. Anybody any issue? Gaja, Kerala, Doka, Odisha, and West Bengal, and straightforward have to remember names. Now, when we talk about metal craft, we also have other places in India which reflect that. So, for example, you have Marori work, which happens in Rajasthan quite a lot. So, you have etching work, what is called Nakasi work, which happens quite a lot in India. So, now you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is to know Marori, Rajasthan. Then you have Tarkashi, which is again a type of copper brass work, which is done Tarkashi style in again Rajasthan. Thereafter, you would have seen what is called Damascusing, Koftigiri. In India, you will find two types of steel. One is steel which is totally plain, and then you would have seen steel which has some patterns built inside it like this. This is called Damascus steel. This is when you push steel together, and in Jaipur and Alwar, Damascus steel is produced in quite a lot of what we call as number. Damascusing came in the examination also, and I discussed that question. It is about how steel is pressed together to produce a certain type of patterning on steel itself. So you have Gaja, Dokra, Pahaldar, Fema Bharti, Marori, Tarkashi, Koftigiri. Right now, last which I discussed, I'll not go into textiles. I will go into textiles tomorrow. Is leather, because leather is something again which in India is very, very common. So you have Mujarish again from Rajasthan. I don't think that in India nobody knows about Kolhapuri chappals, which come from Maharashtra. Everybody has a Kolhapuri for sure in that regard. Thereafter, you also have Punjabi jutis, which you would have seen. Jutis something like this. These are called the Punjabi jutis in that regard. They're called the Punjabi jutis. And there's a subtype in the Punjabi jutis itself, which is called Manoti. Manoti is when these have very beautiful nakashi flowers on them. What I want from you is to note down these words and just write the states in front of them, and your work is again done. Don't need to go to glass work, this and that. I cut and all I will discuss with you. I have a list of these thread work, which I will discuss with you tomorrow. I'll show you what is chicken curry, what is full curry, what is the different zardozi. All these things we will discuss. So very simply, we will discuss thread work tomorrow. Tomorrow is our last class. We will discuss the three big topics: 6 schools of philosophy, foreign travelers, numismatics, and then go into the other smaller topics. I'll bring the Nitin Singhania with me. We'll take an assessment of what we've done, what we've not done, what to do with that book also. Right? Describe history in one word or in one sentence. That is not possible. There is a different understanding of, if they ask you what is history in one word, history is the past as described through the eyes of the historian. History is the collation of the past through sources such as archaeological. You can give a technical answer, you can give a different type of answer also. But tomorrow is our last class, which is that art and culture will be over tomorrow, 24th. Tomorrow we finish art and culture, and with that we finish, you finish my, or the journey with me is going to get over tomorrow. And thereafter, I will tell you how to approach it. We'll do mains questions also. But I hope everything made sense till this point and everything is perfectly clear in your mind. Yes? Done? Next class is which subject? I have no idea. I'll tell you that maybe tomorrow. Okay. So see you tomorrow, 10 o'clock. Don't be late. And Vivek, please listen to me, 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock. Okay. See you. Take care.